Hello again, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Game Pass Grab Bag, your weekly podcast reviewing games from the Game Pass collection, bringing you three unique perspectives from varying skill range. I am the one who loves bacon this episode, Andrew. With me, our animal whisperer, Keith.
Hello.
And our very angry librarian, Liz.
Hey, guys.
And this week, a much anticipated game by me. We got to play Psychonauts 2 by Double Fine Studios. Psychonauts 2 is a sequel, of course, to the original Psychonauts, which we also did an episode on. And Psychonauts 2 takes place just a couple days after the first Psychonauts. You still play as young Raz, who starts to become an intern to the Psychonauts, and you start to unravel this whole mystery as to what happened to the original 6 of the Psychonauts. Psychonauts 2 is a third-person action platformer. Going around, Liz, I want to know from you, because you were not with us the very first episode. Was this a gamer pass for you?
Yeah, having not played the first one, I didn't really know what to expect. I saw the trailer and I thought, this is like the graphics, like Stinky Cheese Man and Xbox 360, like had like a graphic baby and was beautiful.
Xbox 360?
Yeah, well, not in a bad way.
Okay.
Not in a bad way. Just like the vibe is more what I meant. But for me, this is a definite must play. I flippin' loved it. And for me, I think a lot of stories or a lot of games that we play, with the stories, there isn't a strong beginning, middle, and end. And I felt this game did have that, especially at the end. I feel like so many games, like they ramp up and then the ending is just like, you know?
Yeah.
And so I also like that the gameplay, the graphics, and the music were constantly changing. I got those achievements popping up on my screen, got me all pumped. And so I'm like really jazzed about it. It's definitely a game. I think everyone should play it.
Liz is riding a high this week. I think this is the most excited I've heard you about a game in about 2 months, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what I was thinking. You should have heard her. Anytime any story moments are going on, I'm hearing her gasp. I'm hearing her going, oh, like the entire time. She was into the story.
Gotta love it. Gotta love it. No, I mean, I know obviously the stats on time played aren't always accurate, but you were like over 24 hours on this, Liz, according to the stats on Xbox. So that's why I was like,
yeah,
dang.
I mean, I had it on pause a lot, which I think affects
Probably.
it,
Oh,
but
sure.
I put a lot of time into this. I just started reading a really good book this week, and I was like, this game better be good because I really want to focus on this. My book is not finished, so that says it all, I think. Nice.
Well, I'm going to follow it up. I'm going to say this is also definitely a game. No, it's just definitely a game. It's a ton of fun. It's reminiscent of old school Mario. I think it was good playing the first one, and I'm glad that I did. I think they do a good enough job where you can pick this up and play it without having any real background on the first story, but I do think it's worth the playthrough because that's another like 10 or 12 hours probably that you can go get all the backstory to everything you're leading into, because like Andrew said, it picks up days after, and like half of the mystery you're trying to solve is what was the the cliffhanger that they left at the end of the first one. So it's just a ton of fun, and I don't know, I love the gadgets. I like the way that the upgrade system works. I have a few small gripes, but all in all, absolutely loved it. Gotta play it.
Yeah, I'm totally with you guys. This is 100% a definite must game. I absolutely love Psychonauts 2. This has been one of my most anticipated games for the longest time because I loved the first Psychonauts. I haven't been this excited for a game, I think, since Halo 2. Like, I could not wait to play this game.
Dang.
And anytime I just kept seeing more trailers for it, more artwork, I was just so pumped for this game. As some of you probably have heard if you listen to our original Psychonauts episode. I'm 100% with you guys. And like Liz, you nailed it. Where it's just beginning, middle, and end of this game was just fun. It just was refreshing. They kept changing up the gameplay. The story was so good. I loved the characters. I loved this game. This is honestly a very good chance this might be my game of the year.
Me too.
I loved it that much. But Keith, you kind of jumped the gun a little bit. I was going to ask you guys. So me and Keith played the first Psychonauts, but Liz, you did not. So I want you to get your guys' opinion. Keith, you kind of gave yours. Do you think you need to play the first Psychonauts? Did you feel lost, Liz?
No. The only thing that I didn't really realize, and I should have, it was very obvious, and they actually mentioned it later on in the game, is that Mila and Sasha were together, which I didn't pick up at the very beginning. But at the beginning, they had kind of a recap. I didn't realize it was a recap. I was just listening to this really cool story.
Which, yeah, it was a fantastic recap.
Yeah, and it instantly hooked me. I was like, okay, this game's going to be great. And so I didn't feel like I was missing anything. It makes me want to play it, though, because, I mean, this game was so good. I feel like the first one has to be good.
Yeah, it's one of those things that, I mean, I already said it basically, but they do a good enough job just making this be able to stand on its own two legs. And more than anything, you're just like, small tidbits here and there make more sense from having played the first one. But there's so much new lore and everything built on top of it that it stands on its own just fine. But
like, I feel like the best way to kind of describe it is kind of like a Marvel movie where you could watch it and still enjoy this movie, but there are a ton of little things and hints and like kind of nuances here and there that, you know, point back to the first game that if you knew, you know, you'd enjoy it a little bit more. But I don't think you need to play the first one. The first one I still think is a fantastic game. It's pretty old. It's from 2005, but as we said in our episode, it holds up well. But yeah, this story is very much kind of on its own. Still, yeah, it goes back to some of the first parts. But this is one thing I loved about the story of Psychonauts 2. It very much wasn't riding the nostalgia trip. And I loved it about this game. There's a lot of little nostalgia things in it. Not so much about Psychonauts 1, but definitely for gamers, probably me and Keith's age. You know, there's a voice actor from, you know, Razputin is played from the voice actor who did Invader Zim. And of course, they actually hired the sidekick of Invader Zim as to be your clone in this game. And it was just like these small little nostalgia things in the game that were fantastic. But it never was like, hey, remember this character? Oh, remember this character? None of that, which I loved. It just wasn't a constant nostalgia trip that a lot of movies tend to do today.
No, I loved how you described it as like, or related it to like the Marvel series, because that is the absolute perfect description. You can, you know, to someone who's watched them all and you go and you watch the Avengers after watching Iron Man, you're like, oh, cool. I see that little reference. That's kind of neat. But nothing is lost. You're not missing anything if you don't get those connections. It just makes it a little more entertaining. And that was fantastic. And the funny thing is like you said, like we keep talking about how the other one holds up, but I think what's interesting about this is I think this shows like how much better they can make a game with the new systems, because honestly the gameplay was so similar in so many ways, but it felt so much cleaner and so much smoother, and it was like that's all it was really missing in the last one. So like even a remastered version would be so good for Psychonauts, and yeah, everything was just like shiny and new.
So starting off with the story, I think Psychonauts 2 had honestly to me, it was a very compelling story. It had such amazing characters. And I think what works so well with Psychonauts 2 is, you know, it's a platformer. So it's very much, you know, you have a hub world and then you kind of go to these special worlds, but the special worlds are in people's minds. So it's nice that you're not like, hey, here's, you know, a bunch of exposition of explaining this character's history and blah, blah, blah. Instead, you're just playing a level and you're kind of learning about a character just by naturally playing a level. And it just felt so natural. Like I actually felt so more attached to these characters and learning about them without it being this boring cinematic. It was just me constantly playing the game, learning about these characters, and all the characters to me were fantastic.
I also feel like they really went up and down with your emotions, especially with certain characters where there's something really dark going on. I mean, they tackle like alcoholism, loss, revenge, like family things, but then all of a sudden they'll have like a really like just silly joke about like constipation or something.
Yeah.
And so for me, like I just felt like I was laughing and then I was like, oh no. And then right before we were doing the podcast, there's a lot of replayability. I went back and I saw this memory that like it still bothers me what happened in it.
Yeah.
Are you talking about some of the little the little picture cut scenes, the little wheels?
Yeah, like
it was
the
a
little
vault.
Yeah.
Yeah, those were in the first one too. Those were probably some of the darker parts of the game, because it would give you like more of an actual picture of what was going on versus in the environments around you. You could kind of piece together some of the issues or the things they were tackling, but you really saw it when you looked at those little picture graphs.
Yeah, the one Liz was specifically talking about, there's a character who's kind of into animals, and kind of figuring out how his mind got shattered is just really kind of dark.
One thing that I thought was really interesting is that because there's some brain swapping, and so they're really respectful about that fact with like the whole like consent thing, because you like two people are about to kiss and they're like, oh, this isn't my body. Like,
Yes.
so
which
for me, like, but you don't even like that is such like a thing in TV and movies of the past, like especially in the 90s.
No, not the past.
No, but I can think of a couple where like they were doing stuff that they should not be doing with somebody else's body. This is the first time they're like, hold up.
Yeah.
This isn't appropriate.
Oh, the newest Wonder Woman. Because the most recent Wonder Woman movie did that, where her boyfriend takes the place of a person's body and they end up having sex, and everyone's like, isn't that rape? Like,
yeah.
You're using someone else's body. And I remember the movie got like blasted for it. So I absolutely love that Psychonauts kind of did this, where it's just like, no, this isn't my body. It's just like, oh, this is pretty cool. But I also liked, anytime Raz was trying to go into someone's mind, he always asked for consent for it too.
That's true.
Yes. Well, because he really messed up the first time that he
quickly
did it.
learned of a lesson about, intruding in someone's, personal memories and stuff like that.
I can also think of something that I didn't realize because I didn't play the first one. I didn't realize, maybe I just missed it, but I didn't realize that all the squirrels were bad. So there's this character who's really yelling at one.
Oh my gosh,
and
I always laughed so hard.
They're shaking. And I'm just like, this evil girl, I would punch her in the face so quick. And then Andrew's like, no, like the squirrels are evil. I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
But still, it just like...
Yeah, in the first one, so it's your best friend, your weird best friend from the first one.
Yeah, the one
Dogen.
with the tinfoil hat.
Yeah, his sister is Sam, who also talks to animals. And yeah, in the first one, Dogen always talks about how the squirrels were like trying to get him or like planning world domination. And there was one scene where the squirrels were trying to attack him and he ends up blowing them all up.
Oh, yeah, I do remember that. Okay. I forgot about that.
Yeah, but that whole interaction when you find Sam in the pancake shop, I thought that was the funniest thing. Like all the moments of you asking where she's getting the ingredients, like, did you get cow milk for the pancakes? And she looks at the bird, she goes, yeah, that probably would have been a better idea. Like, I thought it was just so funny. The humor in Psychonauts 2 isn't, like, I was never, like, cracking up laughing, but it always made me chuckle. And
I feel like there's a mixed bag of, like, bodily function humor. And
Yeah.
then,
Oh, yeah, a lot of that.
Like, yeah, there was one time that I was trying to figure out what to do, so I just shot at it, and they're like, that's an interesting way to deal with a memory. And I was like, oh.
Sorry.
So I felt like the humor, there's a little bit for everyone.
Oh, yeah, definitely. There was definitely some adult jokes. Like when the grandma comes in saying, these are the beanbags where we used to fool around.
Oh,
And-
yeah.
And Ford just instantly kind of cuts her off like, oh, anyway. Or one of my favorite jokes is when you're in the musician's mind. And he goes, oh, yeah, two of the people used to go up here and get high. And your character goes, oh, so you mean they're on top of the mountain? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because you kind of forget that your character's, I mean, he's super short compared to everybody else, but you forget that he's 10 years old.
Yeah, you heard 10, I don't know. I never heard
Oh,
it.
is he not?
But I know he's supposed to be very young.
No, he absolutely is. It's on, when you open up the menu, you have like your little card and it says you're an intern and you're 4'4" and you're 10 years old, which all goes back to some issues I take with Psychonauts 1, where Mia has some very strong words with a 10-year-old that feel very uncomfortable when you're thinking about him being 10 years old. But anyway,
it doesn't exist in this one. She does not hit on you in this one.
No, she's more just like a nice little like your best friend's mom in this one.
I do think it's weird, so it's kind of hard to talk about the story. Cause
Not in a creepy way, by the way. I just had to be clear on that. Sorry.
Geez. I think too, it's hard to talk about the story because there's so many things that you learn along the way, character-wise. But I think I thought it was interesting that Hollis was such a big component at the beginning, and then it kind of focused on other characters.
Yeah. You
didn't really see her as much, and I thought she was going to have a bigger role in it later on. But you really do just like hop adult, and then you're like figuring it out on your own, which is also kind of nice.
Yeah, I will say the one thing I was kind of disappointed in was your co-interns. I found them really interesting and unique, and like they played a decent role at the beginning, and then they just kind of disappeared. Like you see them here and there, and you can talk to them if you want, but they really weren't really part of the story until the end.
But I think like your character is more advanced. I mean, they're kids and they're interns. Like how helpful are they going to be with fighting like evil adults? you know?
But like, you know something's going on, and they're not helping you at all. They're just doing their own weird little things, and that's just my only kind of complaint is like, why aren't you recruiting more people to help you? Which this is also my biggest flaw with the story too. So the main story of this game is you're trying to restore the original 6 founders of the Psychonauts, and you find them, and of course all their minds are broken, so you're kind of going in and trying to fix their minds. My question is, why has no one else done this? They have been broken for years. Why is it now all of a sudden a 10-year-old's coming into town and everyone's like, hey, 10-year-old, fix these people for us? Like,
But I feel like maybe they have a lot of missions. I mean, they're trying to I feel like they're trying to save the world, you know?
it's a big
No,
like
that's
organization.
true. But I also think too, like a lot of it is mental illness and some of the things that happened. I mean, I don't think anybody would be the same after. And maybe they didn't consent to it. Maybe they said, I want to try to fix you. And they said no.
But now a 10-year-old boy comes and they're like, okay, you can come in.
Well, I mean,
It's a fair point.
I was going to say, I mean, you kind of established some credibility pretty quickly on when it comes to everything that went down in the first one. I mean, you essentially helped save Tanis? What's his name? Donato? Terrence?
Oh, I was just calling him Donato. I forget his first name, but yeah.
Yeah, the big Donato. You saved the head of the Psychonaut, so I think you established some credibility from the beginning. But I will agree, the interns program is kids. But if you listen to all the kids talking, like, you're out here actually doing things, and they're looking down on you. But they're like, my mentor wants me to go collect some berries. Yeah. So like, there's a big difference between what they're doing and what you're doing as interns.
Oh yeah, but I do think it's funny. But like, it's not even so much about you're getting your credibility though, because you're interacting with people that have been in the middle of the woods, have never interacted with anyone for the longest time. Then all of a sudden you pop in and they're like, "Sure, go right ahead, fix me."
I don't know.
I don't know. I know obviously it would make a very compelling game if you find these people and someone fixed them a while ago.
But I think a lot of them were afraid of being judged. A lot of them had done some pretty crappy stuff
that's true, yeah.
that they felt so ashamed about, and that's why they kind of, hid. And I also think too, I mean, like, you look at the ending, and one of the big thing is forgiveness. Like, do you forgive this person? I think a lot of the people thought that they were unforgivable.
Yeah.
Not to get too deep or anything.
I mean, well, no, this is what I actually loved about this game. Right at the beginning, this is what I think is kind of funny. They give a warning saying like, hey, this game deals with, pretty heavy topics of, like addictions and, depression, stuff like that. And it also says if you have a fear of like a dental phobia, this game also has some moments of that. And right away, the game shoves you in one of the most like dental heavy levels. I don't have a huge dental phobia, but even a couple times I'm like, oh man, this is.
I do not like the dentist. I'm afraid of the dentist.
I know.
But it didn't bother me though. Like, I don't have like a phobia of it.
Yeah.
No, I just don't do with teeth falling out. That's me. I tell Amber all the time, I'm like, when the kids' teeth are falling out, that's on you, not on me. I'm not dealing with that. Oh, I don't like it. I don't want to get too deep, but I used to have really, really bad recurring dreams about my teeth falling out. And I think I always heard it was like an anxiety thing. I hated my job at the time, and I was miserable, and everything was awful. At least I thought. And I used to have nightmares all the time about it, and now I don't. So.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, legitimately.
So sorry to hear that.
No, but it's also at the same time, it's not like I see teeth and I'm like, ugh. It's just I don't like teeth falling out. The zipper teeth kind of creeped me out. That was
for me. It's nails.
A little gross.
Like in horror movies, if someone like scratching on the floor and stuff.
Oh yeah, no.
I don't like that.
I'm with you.
And kids in horror movies scare me. I don't know why.
No creepy kids. Thank you.
But anyway, I loved that this game. It talks about like mental issues, like mental health issues, but I felt like they do it in such a fantastic job.
Yeah, there's some games that really did a not so good job at that. I can think of a couple off the top of my head that I was just like, this is like corny, or it's like they're trying way too hard with it, and I felt like this just seemed much more natural.
Oh yeah, like seeing characters like reflections of self-doubt or judgment. Someone saying like, oh, we thought they'd be with someone taller, so like this guy's very self-conscious of their height. Like they're really. It wasn't something that was so like shoved down your throat all the time, but it was just so natural feeling of like them explaining. It felt so relatable. It's like the nice thing about it. It just didn't feel like so fake.
Well, and I think it's kind of just interesting too, is like you go through the minds of these people, and instead of just like experiencing from like oh yeah, I know what addiction is and people suffer from it. They like painted this picture of like, this is what living with addiction is. It's not what you think it is, or kind of interesting things like that. So I thought that was kind of cool, but still made everything lighthearted. Like, not that it has to be, but you didn't feel like I don't know, brought down, which sounds really mean to say.
One thing that's so good, like as you're like kind of going through these stories and seeing like these people's like, you know, self-doubt and these mental illnesses that they kind of have, what made it so awesome is just the overall gameplay, because every world was just different and unique, and it changed the gameplay up. It wasn't just like, oh, here's a fire level, but you're doing the same thing, just jumping around collecting things. Here's an ice level. Oh, now you got like a sky level. No, every world was very different and unique, but it also had some gameplay elements to it that were just a lot of fun. Like one time you're on a cooking show and you have to like assemble these dishes.
Fun. That was my least favorite.
Oh, I loved it.
That was
stuck
great.
on it. I thought it was clunky for me, like the way that I play, and I was stuck on it for forever. I actually at one point was just like, I'm just gonna wait for Andrew to get home and do this for me. But then I was like, no, I have to see what happens. I probably won't have time to play this next week. I have to finish this game. So I just like pounded through it because I had to. But then at the end, I actually did feel like, oh, it's over. But I didn't. At no point was I like, I'm done with this game because of the gameplay. Even when it was hard, I still enjoyed it. But I really liked the musician's mind. I thought that was so cool.
Yeah, his world was really trippy and a lot of fun.
Oh, with the little mini hub world and everything.
Yeah.
And you had to freeze those like tongues that were like thrashing and.
Oh yeah.
I loved the bowling world where you actually had to like ride the bowling ball on like narrow paths. So it was kind of like this balancing act.
I was so proud of myself. I had never felt like better gaming than then because I felt like I did a really good job with it. And I also like too that because towards the end I was definitely rushing and I wasn't getting a lot of the collectibles. But at the beginning, when I was getting them all, I never got sick of it. There's so many collectibles, and I had so much fun trying to figure out how to get them, like really searching every nook and cranny. And so for me, like if there's looting in a game, like I'm for it, you know?
I'm going to slightly disagree with you because this is one of my small gripes that carried over from Psychonauts 1, is there's too many collectibles. It's fine to a certain extent, but when there's like over 120 items of those little figments, yeah, and sure, you don't have to collect all of them, and largely I would go somewhat out of my way, but if I couldn't get something after maybe 2 or 3 tries, I was like, well, I'm probably gonna miss one anyways. I'm not gonna worry about trying to collect every single one that I see if I really can't get to it.
I think the musician one had over 200.
Yeah. There's 2 of them with over 200, and the only thing I liked about it is that to a certain degree, I got an idea of how much I had left in the level. It's like, okay, I've collected about half of those.
Super long.
I'm probably about halfway through. And also to the credit on some of those, you would collect like 10 of them in 10 seconds at some point. So like it made up for it, but I did think the figments were a little too much, and I would have liked to see them tone back on it a little.
One thing I didn't like is that there were sometimes you'd go into a room and there'd be an immediate cutscene and then you'd leave the room. And so you wouldn't be able to collect anything in that session. So you definitely have to go back and replay it to get it. I hate when games do that.
Yeah.
That's my biggest complaint with it.
Yeah, I think you almost have to replay every single level in this game to 100% it.
Yeah, because you get new abilities where you have like a little guy that can open doors for you that you can't at the beginning. So, I mean, you definitely, if you want to 1,000 game, you have to play through it more than once.
See, so I disagree with you, Keith. I love the collectibles. I think every platformer always has a collectibles. I do agree there is a lot, but I did not care.
That's why you were so higher up in levels than me, because I think you were better at getting them. Sometimes I like with Keith, I'm like, if I can't get this after a couple tries, I'm just going to leave that one. So I was ahead of Andrew at one point, and he had a better ranking.
Yeah, I think the collectibles are a lot of fun. If you actually ignore the collectibles, you could probably beat this game very quickly. But I like the collectibles because it made me just say more in these worlds, which I was enjoying these worlds. So getting these collectibles is just adding more gameplay. Because if you ignore them, you can cut this game time probably half.
Oh yeah,
but I didn't want to. I wanted to get everything.
No, and I'm not saying I like I said, I think through all the levels that I probably got close to 90% or more of them. It was probably only the last 2 levels that I had like 30 missing because I kind of like you were saying, Liz, I was trying to rush through because I was trying to beat it and I came just shy. I'm a little annoyed with myself, but I was rushing a little bit toward the end, but all in all, I got the majority of them. There was just some that I was like, oh, I missed 4 of them. I'm not going to go back and play that level for 4 missed figments.
Well, some of them are really big, some of the levels, and there's really no indicator. Some of them are hidden pretty well too, so I can see if you're trying to 1,000 the game, that would be really frustrating.
That's probably one of my major complaints is it was so there's like certain areas you can fast travel when you revisit a level. I wish it broke it down, telling you, hey, there's a couple figments in this area, or there's a emotional baggage in this area. There's not. You just have to literally play the entire level over and over again, searching every nook and cranny to just find the last couple things you missed. So that annoyed me. Another thing I wasn't too crazy about with the gameplay is the pin system. So there's a shop where you collect, you still collect the Psychonauts, which are just like little glowing rocks. And that's the currency you spend at like the vending machine. They had it in the first one. And this time around, though, you're buying these pins. They're essentially perks. You can only equip 3 of them, but you can buy all of them. And so you can switch them at any time while you're playing. But I didn't think the pins were that interesting. I actually played a good 60 to 70% of this game without buying a single pin. Because all of them I was just like, eh.
Some are like there was one where you can't get stuck in the goo when you're fighting monsters, and I actually found that really helpful.
But I didn't feel like you fought those monsters that often, and I thought it was pretty easy to avoid the goo, so I was like, whatever. But you have like some pins that are like, oh, your character will dance if you're not doing anything. It doesn't do anything. It just makes you dance. And that takes up one of your 3 slots. So it's like, why have this?
Well, I mean, I'm not trying to jump ahead on this, but one of the biggest reasons I can think of is honestly achievements, because I was able to get that fill out your 3 pins really early because I was like, oh, I'll buy a blue colored ball and I'll buy the dance pin, and I think the one where I could pet animals. So I agree with you. They're nice to have, but there was 2 that I thought were nice and effective, and it still somewhat situationally, but the one with mental connection where you could gain money and you could gain health.
Yeah, I did that one.
Because at one point, I think I just maybe racked up 500 gold in a minute because I just sat in the main atrium and just went back and forth between a bunch of mental connections. And it was nice. You could quickly heal up on it. So those 2 could be helpful in the right context. But outside of that, you can play most of the game without them. I played most of the game with the 3 do nothing pins. So one issue that I do have that carried over from Psychonauts 1 is the overall skills. Not the skills themselves, but how you picked them. Now in this you had it with the updated controller, so right bumper, right trigger, all of that. I didn't like the fact that I can free assign them, because the amount of times I would have something assigned to the same one for a long time, then switch it, and then just keep misusing my skills. I would have liked right bumper could only be constrained to these 2 skills, and then right trigger. That it's just a small tweak that I think would have made it just a really nice quality of life to the game. It's nothing that is diminishing by any means, because all of your skills recharge really quickly, but it was more just annoying that if you happen to be running low on health and you were really trying to get off a certain skill and you can't, crap, that's the end of me.
See, I didn't mind it at all, because I actually just mentally did okay, this one is only going to be these 2. Left trigger, or sorry, right trigger was always either telekinesis or I forget the other one, but I would always switch them out the same exact way. And what I also really liked is that you can pause the game mid combat and switch them out. So you just go to that screen and you're not hit with enemies. So there were some times where it's oh crap, those goo monsters are here. And then my left bumper was always either fire, and I think that one I switched out with 3. So for me, it was all about memorizing them early on. So it didn't really bother me.
No, that's super smart. And I mean, it just goes to show that you can do exactly what I was saying just by doing it. So I don't know.
But if you're going back and forth, if you take I can't even talk. If you step away from the game for a couple of days, you're not going to remember probably. So I do think that what you're saying is helpful, but
yeah. And as I said, it's nothing that takes away from the game in any play. It's just one of my few small gripes. So I got to get it all out on the table.
Andrew didn't have to deal with this because he has the new Xbox, but there are a lot of load screens if you're going back and forth. And it actually took quite a while. Not as bad as, I forget the last game that we played. It was awful. It wasn't that bad. But but I think that at the end, when you're kind of like hopping around, it was starting to wear on me a little bit, even with the tunnel. So that kind of bothered me a little bit.
Yeah, it loads so quick on any of the series consoles. Like my load time's like 1 to 2 seconds.
Yeah, mine was not. And then the game is a little bit buggy. I got stuck 3 times.
I actually got stuck. I think once.
now you okay? Yeah, Andrew.
No, I saw you get stuck. I believed
but
you.
You're
I
like,
just can't
Liz,
believe you always find
why
it.
do you always do this?
You
like it's my
get
fault.
Stuck.
You helped me out the first time, and then the other 2 times I had to die in order to get out of it, which was a little frustrating. And then the final boss, the gameplay switches to you have like X and A that you're fighting with.
Oh,
and
yeah.
it just did whatever it wanted. So I'd hit X, but then it would do like the A command, and then it kept doing that. And then and maybe because I was hitting the buttons too many times and it was confused. But at one point it was just doing its own thing, and I was just watching it, and then it stopped, and I'm like, oh wait, am I playing again? So I think that there is a couple little technical issues.
No, there definitely are. I ran into a couple things myself. One in particular that it was one of those areas where a set wave of enemies come, and then once you clear the waves, it goes to a cutscene or whatever, and they kept talking about enemies coming, and none ever showed up. So, and I walked around the entire area like multiple times. But brings me to what I think is a really cool feature about this game is when you go to exit the game, it will tell you, hey, it's been this long since your last autosave. Are you sure you want to? Because it said like 10 minutes for me, so I was none too pleased. I will say the good thing about the 10 minutes that I lost is like 5 to 6 of them were me actually backtracking, trying to collect some things. So having to restart that 10 minutes didn't hurt me all that much. But I immediately saw that and I was like, this is such a cool feature. Because at any point, if I was like, I want to jump out of the game real quick, I could pull that up. And if it was anything more than like 10 seconds, I'd be like, I don't know. Maybe I want to go a little bit further or whatever it might be.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't remember that ever popping up for me, but I also just kept the Xbox. I was always signed into it.
You never manually exited the main menu. I did though too, as well as with Keith. Mostly because I actually played a good chunk of this game on Xbox Cloud. This game, obviously just hit console not too long ago, but it's on the cloud service and it also has touch controls. So I actually played quite a big chunk because I got called into work. Thank you, COVID. And so, on a couple downtime, I was like, on my lunch break, I was like, cool, I'll just try to play a little bit. And it was nice because I'm like, all right, I got to get back to work. And I did the same thing of trying to exit the game to see how long ago it was for a save. And I'm like, okay, I collected like 2 things, whatever. I'm okay losing that and just would quit. But to say how it plays on xCloud, it's not ideal, but it was surprisingly not that bad. I did not have a huge latency issue. I was playing on Wi-Fi, but I was able to do the platforming just fine. The only thing I would not recommend doing the xCloud.
The cooking show?
Yeah, definitely the cooking show. Because like the touch controls are very odd. Literally, your left hand has the left stick, and every button is on the right side of the screen. So you can't really like grab something with your mind while jumping and looking using touch controls. It was super awkward. So it works well early on in the game. It's great if you're just trying to do the basic platforming, but it's definitely not ideal if you're trying to collect everything. Like, do not do the xCloud touch controls if you're trying to collect everything. It's just really awkward.
Yeah, I think I actually tried it for a couple minutes because I was curious of the same. I was like, I'll give it a shot. I ran into it seemed a bit laggy, but I also only played like 2 to 3 minutes, so maybe it had to like smooth out. I don't know. But I immediately looked at it and I could have read it wrong, but it was like it had me without my Astral wallet. It looked like I was just way out of sync, and so I panicked and shut it off real quick because I was like, if I lose like 5 hours of gameplay because of a weird cloud sync issue, I was going to be heated. It did not. I was fortunate, but I was also afraid to open up cloud play after that. But I agree with you. I will say if you have the ability to play a controller on your xCloud, by all means do it. And I got to experience the difference in load times. I will tell you that because when I loaded it up on that, since it's booting them up on Series X networks, basically, it was like instant. And on my old 1X over here, it was like a good minute or two. But I liked some of the load screens where it was just like the flamingos just standing there, Just kind
Or
of
the
bottom.
goat just
yeah.
eating the grass, staring at you.
It was so stupid, but it kind of made me chuckle every single time.
Yeah, I love that they ended up like putting the wildlife kind of front and center. They actually put quite a bit of wildlife in this world. I think overall, just like the overall art style of Psychonauts 2 is so good. It's so striking. I remember we talked about with Psychonauts 1 that it very much kind of feels like a Tim Burton movie. I don't think like characters and things were so overly exaggerated like they were in Psychonauts 1. Like you had some people with like jagged teeth everywhere. The only example I think that they brought over were the squirrels, and they did look very odd with the updated graphics because like the squirrels have like a huge overbite, so they looked really kind of weird. But everything else, like I think this game, like graphically, just it aged so well. It's such a unique art style, and it wasn't like scary or alarming like it was in the first one.
Dr. Lobato was kind of crazy looking.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
was about.
But what?
Oh, go. No. I was just gonna say he's about the only one. So go ahead.
I don't know how to explain it. I keep thinking the word like texture, but there are some levels or in some mines that it felt like different. It looked like different textures.
Oh, like
you
the
had
quilting world?
Yes, you had like the paper, the librarian.
Yeah.
And so I felt like graphically it changed so much. And then the musicians was psychedelic.
Yep.
And so I really do think that they just went above and beyond with the art style and just making it so that you didn't get bored.
So this is one of those weird instances where I don't think they did it better in the first one by any means. They didn't have the same technology. They didn't have the same means at that point. But I think the like kind of lack of quality in the first one was what added some of its charm, I think, especially
Yeah.
because of how the characters were designed and had sort of a Tim Burton feel. So them feeling not quite perfect was right. So the shine didn't take away from it, but maybe a little bit in some ways. But all in all, I think it was cool because I felt like there was some weird line of like cell shading and claymation like mixed into
Yeah.
one design style. And that was what I thought was so cool about it.
This is a very small gripe of graphics though, but one thing that always kind of irritated me is how like a lot of people don't have nostrils. You literally see like their flesh indent into their nose, but it's smooth, and so they don't have nostrils. Like your main character doesn't, his girlfriend like doesn't. It was just like a very kind of small thing. It was just like weird. Like you could see he has a nose, but he has no nostrils.
See, some of the characters looked like people that I've seen before. Like I've definitely seen either a person or maybe someone on TV that looked like Otto. And then
Do you know someone who looks like the doctor, the dentist?
no, but Sasha, he kind of looks like, is it Colin Firth? The
Yeah.
square. Yeah. So a lot of the characters, I was like, I feel like I've seen you before, even though I haven't.
I think if anything, he's probably supposed to be closer to like a Keanu because I feel like they give him like kind of a Matrix feel with his like black leather jacket and the sunglasses and everything.
I mean, he's not wearing like a duster.
I guess, but I don't know. He felt more Keanu to me, but I do what you mean. I also think there was kind of like Muppet like to him in some ways.
Yeah, I was gonna say it feels slightly Jim Henson or Sesame Street kind of like the generic people in the world look like puppets.
The tiny arms and legs, like, really kind of threw me with all, like, pretty much every character. I love the look of it, but it was just like when the acrobats were like flying up and you just see all these like spider limbs.
Yeah. But like what I love so much about the art style of Psychonauts 2 is there's a lot of characters in this game. You may not remember their names, but you will absolutely remember what they look like. Everyone looks so strikingly different that I think it worked so well with this story. Especially too with it just being such a more expansive game than it was in the first one. I never felt lost. I was never like, wait, who is that guy? Wait, have I met this guy before?
See, I remember them based on their like relationships and their looks, but sometimes it'd just be the relationships. Be like, oh, I don't really remember what he looks like, but that's like the father of so and so.
Yeah.
So I think that helped too.
Yeah, I mean, because there's some levels where the characters are depicted as something else. So like with the musician level, you know, one person's a hand, one person's a nose, one person's an eye, but you could still hear the characters, and they did such a good job like portraying their mannerisms that you remembered who they were when you kind of saw them in real world.
You know what's a side thing is the brain swap characters that we were referring to.
Yeah.
What I thought they did a really good job at was they kept the voice of the original body and everything, so it didn't get
Yeah.
the voice of
Yeah.
the brain swap character, but they made that person talk with the mannerisms that the other person did. And I thought they did such a good job because, or can we say, is it a spoiler if I say that it's Jack Black is who's being imitated, basically?
No.
So the voice that gets swapped into the body is Jack Black, but it's not Jack Black's voice because Jack Black's mind is in another character's body, so it's that character's voice. But they do as a voice actor a very good job of following all of his mannerisms and the way that he speaks, but with their own voice. And they're not trying to imitate his voice, just his mannerisms and his rhythm and timing, and he does a great job. And I thought
They did it with Lily as well, because he was in someone's mind and he had never met her, but he had seen her picture.
Oh,
They're
yeah.
related.
I thought that was funny.
And then so she starts talking and he's like, "You've never met her, have you?" And I thought that was really funny. So they did it multiple times and they did such a good job with it.
Yeah. It was just like, it's like a small attention to detail that the studio took, and it just plays so well. But I loved, like, also what I thought was so striking, just, I know we mentioned before, but they did such a wonderful job with every world. Like, they all just felt so unique, and just, they were so fun to explore. You know, from like a mailroom to, you know, a barber shop to a bowling alley. Like, they were just so cool, and they were so unique. Like the bowling alley one, it's not just like, oh, you're going to a bowling world. No, you're going into a bowling shoe that's also a germ city and also mixed with a bowling alley. And it's like, who thinks of this? But it was so awesome. Like, I loved it.
No, I completely agree, because you sort of mentioned earlier that it wasn't just so simple as, oh, here's a fire level, here's some volcanoes and fire monsters. They were, when you say biomes, they were like just uniquely bizarre areas. Everything was just different. And I thought that was so cool.
Yeah, I feel like the people that made up the story and made up these scenarios, they were very clever. Like, I feel like it's like intelligent humor.
Yeah. I loved it. There's so much about the art style I could just talk about forever. But obviously, like, don't want this to be too long of an episode. So the other thing we've obviously mentioned a little bit too, but the sound and the voice acting is so good in Psychonauts 2. There's not a ton of big name actors. Like, we all picked up on a couple. Like we mentioned, there is Jack Black.
Which I didn't recognize him until he sang.
Yeah, I was the first one in our group because there was a couple people like texting like, "Oh, have you played this level?" I mean, like, "Yeah, did you catch it was Jack Black?" And they're like, "No." But as soon as you know it's Jack Black, you instantly hear him.
Yeah, you can't miss it once you know it or once you recognize it. I think I would have caught on, but I wasn't out there when I saw the text, so I already knew going into it, and boy, did I know it then.
Yeah,
I immediately recognized Elijah Wood.
I didn't recognize him.
And then I went to IMDb. And there's somebody, if anybody like the show Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Principal Snyder is Raz's dad. And then right when I found that, I immediately went and found the dad and listened to him. And I could kind of hear it. But I never would have known because he had a very distinct voice in the show. But yeah, I was looking at IMDb and I was just like, dang.
Yeah, I loved, as I said at the beginning, that they got the voice actor who was Gur in Invader Zim. And yeah, one of your special abilities, you summon a paper clone of yourself. And it's the voice of Gur. And he does such a good job sounding and acting just like Gur. The way he talks, like him being an airplane and making airplane noises. Him saying like, "Oh, it's really dusty in here." And like goes in like these tight. He was cracking me up. It just made me so happy hearing that they hired this guy just for this small role. Because he's not a big actor. Like, I looked up his IMDb and he hasn't been in a ton of things.
Yeah, it was one of those things that the very first when I summoned it, I was like, oh, this thing's going to be annoying. And then after about 2 or 3 minutes, I was like, wait, I think I know that voice. So I immediately went to IMDb. And as soon as I knew it, I was like, okay, this is awesome. I love this. Every annoying little noise or bleep and blurp that you do, I'm like, I
kept him out, just to hear him.
Yeah.
Did you see, there's a pin to shut him up, too. You can get a pin to make him stop talking.
No, I'm guessing it just put something over his mouth, maybe.
Probably.
But I loved the airplane. The airplane cracked me up every time. When you just be jumping around on things, you just hear behind you. Meow,
yeah.
Meow.
It's like, yeah, you're my best friend. It just follows you. I loved having him out.
That one hit me in the feels.
I think they were all so talented. All the voice actors.
Yeah.
I was really impressed. And same with the music, too.
Yeah, the music was really, like, for me at first, I wasn't noticing the music. There's a handful of, like, written songs that just honestly got stuck in my brain. There's, like, this punk rock song that I kept humming at work, that you hear a couple of times. I thought that song was a lot of fun.
I mean, Jack Black is in it. You know, there's going to be some good music.
Yeah, Jack Black sings a song.
It had like the Gluvovia. Is that the
Grulovia,
city?
yeah.
Yeah, they had that anthem kind of thing that was kind of creepy.
No. It was a copy of Disney's It's a Small World.
Yeah.
It was mocking that ride. But yeah, they have a song for
But
Grulovia.
it was creepy, and some of the lyrics, I was like, whoa.
Oh, I loved it.
But then there was like these like old school jazz moment in the diner, and I constantly was listening to find out what was next, and I loved it.
Yeah, it's one of those weird games where it's like I didn't really think about the music while I was playing it, but because I think it just melded so well to what was going on that I didn't really think about it because it was in the moment and it made sense. But when I think back about it, I'm like, yeah, there was a lot of really good tunes in there. I don't know if it's Spotify worthy, but very good.
Oh yeah. And to go back to a little bit with the voice acting, like I know we talked about a little bit with like 12 minutes, how we felt everyone's audio was just very much just kind of stacked on top of each other. This just felt so natural. Like there's a ton of optional dialogue. Like with all your intern friends, you could honestly just not talk to any of them and just be fine. I loved doing optional dialogues. Just going up to anybody.
Wanted to because it was so interesting.
It was interesting. The voice acting was great. The storytelling was so good. I went and talked to anybody I could, even random people.
I even liked some of the background dialogue, like when you're walking around the atrium and there's the two women talking about their fantasy football league and stuff. It was so stupid, but I was like, that's pretty funny. They made it feel like this real working office where they're psychics saving the world, but they're also just out there playing fantasy football, complaining about work over coffee. It's kind of like that. But I didn't dive, I don't think, nearly as deep. But I did find a lot of the side dialogue to be interesting. The only issue I saw where it was a little like jagged or whatever, but this is kind of just goes along with any platformer, like this type of 3D platformer, is you kind of just show up at a place too early while there's, kind of like monologue dialogue happening. That's
Oh.
Yeah,
I know what you're saying. Like when you're walking in the world and it's telling a story and then you cut the story short because you got to get destination.
I did that a lot, and that was kind of a bummer. But outside of that, it was never really anything big missed, but it was like these little dialogues that I was like kind of interested in, and then I'd show up at a place and it just cuts off for a cutscene. I was like, oh, that's sad. But I do agree that the actual dialogue itself felt like they recorded the conversations together, and it didn't just feel like you were going in this weird back and forth.
I will say there was one dialogue that got slightly annoying. That was one of Jack Black's when you're fighting. He only had a couple of lines that kind of repeated a good amount of times. That got a little annoying, but that's a very minor gripe.
I didn't like the plant guy, the Root Bill or whatever.
Oh, Bob Zanato.
Yeah,
Bobby.
Yeah,
oh, yeah.
That got a little bit much because
because he's like floating heads.
Yeah, you're just sitting there, and it's one of those levels that it's all about timing jumps to like when platforms are available. So if you miss one, you have to just sit there and listen to his dialogue as he floats in a big old circle to come back to you. So that got a little annoying. But again, so minor in the big picture that it's like it's not a dock on the game. Just one thing that annoyed me.
And then thing that Liz said at the beginning that still Psychonauts 2 nails is achievements.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I think that if you want to, I think because you have to get all the collectibles to 1,000 it.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you're not going to do that, like you can still get a lot of achievements. I beat the game. I'm at 670, 41 out of 57. So the last couple are 16, I think are worth quite a bit. And then Keith, 645, Andrew, 745. But I was really proud of my score this week.
I think I'm going to 1,000 this game. I want to keep playing it.
You beat me, Liz, so. You said 675, right?
Yeah. So you're 645, I'm 670.
Yeah, and you beat the game, so you got that on me this week. Liz is the not last place this week.
Well, I feel like Andrew was really pushing to beat me. He wanted to beat the game first. He failed. So then he was like, I need to get more achievements than her. Nice. So he was really grinding for that.
I was just enjoying this game. I wanted 1,000.
You're not competitive at all.
I was ahead of you yesterday afternoon. I knew that wasn't going to last.
But the achievements are just really good. There's a handful of just simple combat ones, like grab the judge's hammer and throw it at another enemy. Like a lot of the combat ones I just did by accident.
Me too. Yeah.
But it works so well. The achievements are just constantly feeding to you. Anytime you're kind of completing a world, there's an achievement. The handful of secret achievements are story driven. So Good job. That is what I want secret achievements for.
I knew you were going to bring that up.
There is one secret achievement. Just to tell you all, when you're playing the level with the amusement park kind of level where it's music in the background, there's 3 like stereos you got to find and destroy. I don't know why they made that a secret achievement. I don't know if it's because of the level, but even then, that's not really a spoiler. But
were there funny ones? I forget.
They might have some...
Bob's your uncle. I thought that one kind of made me laugh.
What was
one of the achievements? When you beat the level for Bob Zanato, it was just and the achievement was called Bob's your uncle.
I gotcha. I meant to ask you. I'm trying to pull up this clip that I took. I'm pretty sure there's watermelon butthole. Did you catch that?
I did not.
Well, Andrew loves butthole.
I didn't think there would be. I didn't think there would be because people don't even have nostrils, so I didn't think there would even be that.
Wait, I didn't hear you. What is the clip of?
There was it was on the cooking.
I thought that's what you said.
On the cooking level, when I got to the end of it, the watermelon like falls over. I'm pretty sure there was watermelon butthole.
Well, I mean, they have that thing on the end of the watermelon.
Oh, like the vine?
Yeah, I mean,
it has the natural circle.
I think that's watermelon butthole then.
I think it's just you thinking of buttholes when you saw it. I don't know.
No, I don't think so. Oh, real quick question.
Because I've never looked at the end of a watermelon and been like, that looks like a watermelon butthole.
Is there like an intentional part at the end where it cuts to like a weird black screen with like you're on these big gray platforms?
I don't know.
Okay, because I all of a sudden got a big cut screen. This is where I stopped playing. I remember now last night. It cuts to, it's like everything's black. I'm on this little gray platform, and it says, "You've been teleported to the world origin. Report this." So that's not part of the story. I just glitched.
Wait, what? No?
Yeah.
So it's a bug then?
I think so. I guess I should probably report it because this is what happened to me.
That's really interesting.
Yeah. So I guess I should, and another thing that... Yeah, I'm glad I took a clip of it because I was like, what the heck is going on? This doesn't seem right. I was just messing around with something and all of a sudden you've been teleported to the world origin. Yeah, anywho.
Double Fine normally does like a good amount of like hidden Easter eggs.
Like, did I do something?
But yeah, so getting into our final thoughts here. So for me, Psychonauts 2, like I said, this was one of my most anticipated games. And it did not disappoint. I wouldn't say that the wait was worth it because I seriously don't want to wait another 15 plus years for Psychonauts 3 if they're making a sequel. But I just loved every minute of this game. Any gripe I have of it is just super minor. It never took me out. Yes, I got stuck like 1 or 2 times. Didn't care. The combat was so much better. So many more enemies. We didn't even mention that. Like they just really upped the ante with the combat with the amount of enemies that are on the screen, different types of enemies. Because in the first one, you're just fighting sensors. But now you have regrets, you have doubts, you have panic attacks, you have judgment.
Bad moods.
Yeah, a ton of different monsters, and I loved it. But the platforming for me was fantastic. I loved the voice acting, the music, the story. There's just so very little I can complain about this game. If there's going to be any DLC, which I hope there is, because I don't want to wait for Psychonauts 3. I just want more of this. I'm 100% getting any DLC for this game. For me, this could easily be my game of the year. I think I'm going to give it a 96.
Whew. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I don't have much to follow up on. I don't know if I'm just not as excitable person as Andrew is, but I loved this game.
Well, you didn't have to wait as long. You only played Psychonauts 1.
This is very
not too
true.
long ago.
So I will say that. I don't know if I would have, like, if 15 years came out between Psychonauts 1 and 2, I don't know if I would have had the same excitement level as you did. But that's not necessarily important to Psychonauts 2 because the game alone is just so much fun. And there's, like Andrew said, there's really nothing bad I can say about it. I have a few small gripes. Sure, I hit 1 or 2 small bugs, but nothing took me out of the game. I just enjoyed my time with it. And it was so weird because I struggled to pick it up at first. I was like, I don't know. I just don't want to get involved in this. And then I did, and then I couldn't put it down. And that's my biggest kick is that I think that prevented me from beating it by just probably a couple of hours. But that said, yeah, I think this is easily a 93 for me.
And another thing real quick. Sorry to cut you off, Liz, before you do yours. I forgot to mention the time to beat. Main story, you're looking about 13 and a half hours. And for all the extras, you're looking about 18 and a half hours. which is another thing that's really good about Psychonauts 2. It doesn't overstay its welcome. Like, this was, I think, just long enough. I still want more, but it didn't overstay its welcome.
I think some of the things are pretty hidden, though. So I think that, like, getting every single thing, it would probably take longer than 18 for someone like myself.
Yeah, because you're already at 24, aren't you?
There was paused a lot.
A really random another thing. One thing that I felt really weird about was there was points where I felt like there's no need for me to have to do like 3 layers of this mission, and I wish just maybe once or twice it was like just simply go collect this thing and go back. It was never as simple as that, but at the same token, I always liked it because every level was like entertaining and fun to play. Yeah. But I just didn't want to have to do some of the levels at the same time. It was a very weird dilemma, but I just thought of that. Anywho, sorry, Liz.
There was that. So my score, I was thinking about like the scale to 100. I'm like, what would I improve on this? And I really couldn't think of much. There was like some buggy issues and stuff, but
which will probably get fixed.
Yeah, so I think I'm gonna give it a 97. But I'm like, what would make it have 3 more points? You know?
Less repeating dialogue.
Terry Crews.
Maybe.
William Dafoe.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
They're surfacing 3 points.
I'm going to give it 97, but I mean, does it deserve 100, 99, 98? I don't know. Who am I to judge?
Reduce load times.
Oh, that's true. But that's because of my Xbox, though, if I played on yours. But looking at Metacritic, you can't really go by Metacritic because a bunch of angry Russians swarm the comments because there are no Russian subtitles.
And they review bombed
And they
it.
are so angry. So many zeros from Russians writing in Russian and in English. They're real mad. They need to fix that so that they can fix the scores. Series X, 87 and 7.4. Xbox One, 89 and 5.3. In what universe is this a 5.3? I understand why they are mad because everyone's so excited about this game and they just want to be included in it.
Oh, don't get me wrong. Yeah, if it wasn't in like my natural
native tongue,
my native tongue. Thank you, Keith. I don't know why I was struggling with saying that. I would be a little disappointed too.
So I get
this is a fantastic story, and if you're missing it,
but it's hard to find those those funny comments when it's all that.
Hey, if they can type an angry comment in English, they can play the game in English. And I don't mean that as like a learn English type of comment. I'm just saying you clearly seem to know it, so you should be fine.
It's true, but some of the negatives that I saw, which I think are stupid to be honest, people complaining about the graphics and the old school platforming. I'm just like, dude, did you not know what you're getting into? Did you not see the trailer? Like,
I've heard people say that about it being an old school platformer. I don't get it. Like, for me, it just felt like a natural platformer. Like, I would not see much difference between this and Super Mario Odyssey.
But the gameplay changes so much, and they give you so much. This game is so giving.
Yeah.
And people still want to dump on it.
Like, an old school platformer to me is something like, oh, if you fall off the platform, like, you have to backtrack like 15 minutes. And it was nothing like that.
I agree. I got irritated reading especially the graphics, because I love them so much. I felt very protective. But yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it always irritates. I'm with you. Where it's just like old school platformer. Like, what are you smoking? If Mario did this, nobody would complain about it.
I just can't imagine, except for the subtitles, who would give this game a 0? Who? Who?
Our fourth co-host.
Tweet me. He hasn't played it yet. I checked.
But he probably will.
Oh,
we'll call it an inty turd.
We'll have to do an update on that one later down the road.
All right. So as you can clearly hear, what are you doing? Still listen to us. Play this game. It is fantastic. It is so good. But anyway, thank you so much for joining us. I've been your hardcore gamer host, Andrew. You can find me on Xbox Live at Firebird01952. If you have a game suggestion or you want to just say hi to us, we would love to hear from you. Email us at GamePassGrabBag@gmail.com. We're also on Facebook, Game Pass Grabbag, and at Twitter, GPGBPod. So stop on by and say hi. We love it.
I've been Keith. Did you mention our Facebook?
I did.
Oh, okay. I don't know. Definitely write on our Facebook. Like our page. Share our page. Tell your friends.
Give us a review on Apple iTunes.
Oh yeah, that too. Do whatever. We just love the love because we love loving you.
How do I beat that? Now I'm with the noob. Gamertag coming on D. Now into the endless noob is EW.
All right. Thank you all so much for joining us. We'll see you again next week.
Bye guys.